I'm TarotOracle, and this is the Keymaster Tarot. Just came in today. The original video I had on this was blown out. The lights were really bad, so I'm redoing it. I bought this for $40. It shipped, and this apparently is originally from Stockholm, Sweden, but they had a distributor locally here in Texas. So I got the minimal version with the bag and just the tarot deck wrapped in plastic. So let's take a look at this, because overall I like it. Here is the back of the cards, and for thickness it is pretty thin. I'm not gonna lie, it is really thin. So it is fairly thin. Let's compare this to another deck as far as thickness goes. We can compare it to everyone's favorite Light Seers Tarot. You can see a substantial difference in thickness between those two decks. All right, so let's take a look at the actual cards. Now, keep in mind, the illustrated minors don't exist. It only illustrates the court cards and the majors. So, it does have a gold stamping on it that you can see sort of catches the light a little bit. So it has a little bit of this gold that catches the light, and it makes it kind of interesting. I also like the gold borders on that. So there is the Magician and the Fool. I think the art style is pretty good. It has sort of this mix between minimalistic and highly detailed. For example, you'll have this highly detailed robe, and then in other cards you'll have a low detail dog or a wolf or a lion and whatnot. It has an interesting mix of that. So for example, the snake is just basically a gap in the color scheme that you have that. But again, the stamping, the little designs on here really reflect in the sunlight. I think it looks kind of cool. So there is the Empress and then the Emperor. Emperor has a nice shine on the rod there, no pun intended. The Hierophant, again, we just have this gap here with some of the objects. So you have a minimalistic gap here for the bird, again for the lion and the Strength card. For the Hierophant, you have the same sort of thing. It does look pretty. I like the background as well. How they treated sort of the background here looks pretty cool. And then there's the Lovers, again with a minimalistic crow, along with the eyes. I think it looks very pretty. And then we have the Chariot, which I think is kind of cool. I like the complexity pattern within there. And overall, I like the mysterious sort of mask that the Chariot has on as well. And then we have Justice, which I think looks great. The cards look great, look really good. Now you do have the Hermit, has a nice shine with the light and whatnot. And then we have the Wheel of Fortune, which I think they did a great job. I like the dichotomy between sort of the two hemispheres of the Wheel of Fortune as well as the sort of the person looking up there. Now again, with the sort of this minimal sort of a pattern that we have with the lion as opposed to the Strength character with this highly detailed robe coming in. And then the Hanged Man. I think it's an interesting addition of the cat right here. That is kind of cool indeed. Then we have Death. Sort of bent over, sort of indicator of old age and whatnot. And then Temperance, highly detailed, nice variants on this. It looks great. The wings are very minimalistic wings on there as well. And then the Devil. I think they really did a great job with the Devil. That has sort of an interesting perspective on that particular card. Then you have sort of this Cubism, interesting take on that. Now the Tower looks great. Again, the lightning sort of minimalistic, and then the people falling down have a bit of a, just sort of a gap in the card, making the people. So lack of detail, not a lot of detail combined with extreme detail. And again, sort of that hemisphere feel between the two cards. I love the star. Looks very cool. That's interesting just how submerged into the water they are as well. The moon, we have buildings, architecture that represent the wolf and the dog. Sort of interesting aspect for that as well. And then you have the gold stamping that sort of reaches out. See that gold that sort of hits the light, reaches out a little bit. There's a lot of symbolism that is within this as well. Some of the later cards, you have some of the gold stamping actually reaching out from people's chakras into other parts of the card, which I think was an interesting way to sort of handle that as well. Then we have Judgment, the Reincarnation, and finally the World, with an interesting sort of endless loop that we have between there, a bit of an architecture trick of the eye, along with the characters within that look really cool. Now again, we have unillustrated minors. So we're back to sort of the standard for the TDM feel. We have the TDM feel within some of these. And as well as you have in some of the patterns of these, you have a TDM style when you go to the sword, or when you go to the swords and whatnot. So you have that TDM style here with the gold lining that sort of represent the same as a TDM pattern. And then we have the 3. So these are swords. Again, as you can tell, the book covers this, but you can tell obviously that it's a sword because it has a little hint there. Again, we'll have a 4K flip through to where you can see these in extreme detail. But for now, just trust me on the swords being there. So spades is sword. Obviously, we can sort of reuse this as a standard deck as well due to the pattern and whatnot. So I was going to get a sort of a sword here and show you that sort of has the same pattern to it. There we go. So you can see, this one would be better. You can see sort of the similar pattern here of the different representations when you have this. So the pattern is sort of copied from some of the older style decks, and they still did a great job with it. So only problem I'm having so far is just that the thinness of the cards is pretty extreme, I have to say. It's actually thinner, I believe, than some of the decks that I had previously thought were pretty thin. So, but it is pretty. I think they did a lot of work. I think they did a really nice job on it. Now, there was a deluxe box edition that I did not pick up because I just didn't know if I was going to read with this. I think this is going to read pretty well, though. And I have to admit, I think it's going to read pretty well. Now, there is the symbol that they use there, and that's the same symbol that you sort of get on the bag. So you can see between those two, the differences there. So there we go. Go through the minors, just sort of start just flipping through them. And again, we have the obvious hint of having a sword there. Now the Jack of Spades is going to be the page. And then the Knight of Spades is going to be obviously the Knight. I think that looks great. I like the background pattern too. We have the Queen of Spades, comes in pretty reliable there, along with the King as well. I like the mysterious look of the King. It almost looks like an unarmed weapon in some of the video games where they call it unarmed, but you have a little short, little skimpy weapon there. I did not see a definition for the hand gesture. I wonder if the hand gesture means something. We're kind of interested in this. You can see that this is coins. Obviously, diamonds is going to equal coins. That's going to be pretty standard throughout. And then we have balance. Then we have the 3, the work. We'll just go through these a little quicker here. The 4 and the 5, the 6, the 7, and the 8, and the 9, and finally the 10. And again, with that, you can see the light just sort of hitting and reflecting off of there. Very pretty in person. It looks very pretty, especially when you have a hard light. Now this room is designed for soft light, therefore you're not getting the full effect of that, but there you go. All right, so there we have the Page of Pentacles, the Earth of Earth. Looks very cool. We have the Knight of Pentacles. No field for him to be proud of, though. We have the Queen of Pentacles, the businesswoman. We have the King, the retired banker. So there are definitions in the book. We'll look at the book in a moment. So there we go. We got the clubs. Now clubs is obviously wands, as you can see here. We have the wands representation. Now we're sort of just going to blow through these and do these really quick. If you want more detail on a slower flip through, I will have that in the 4K flip through coming up. But right now we're just taking a quick look, sort of an unboxing and a quick look type thing. No unboxing here. We already did the unwrapping of it. And again, the light source was too much. It was in the kitchen and it was way, way, way too much. So we'll have a slower flip through later. But here's your Jack of Clubs. That is interesting. So that is the Page of Wands, which is all about messages and whatnot. I think that looks pretty cool. I like the addition of the cat. Normally we would see the cat on the Queen of Wands, which I think is suspiciously missing the cat. But then we have the Knight of Wands, Fire of Fire, and it's interesting that he has a symbol in his hand there. Then we have the Queen of Clubs, Queen of Wands, sort of tattooed with the symbol. And then we have the King of Clubs. So the follow suit is obviously cups. You can see that with the reflection, with the little gold symbol there. So again, this is a very soft lit room on purpose, but you can sort of see it moving. There you go. So that is the Ace of Cups. And here's the 2. I believe it's the only minor that has any sort of symbolism or picture or representation within there. So we'll flip through these rather quickly. Not a lot to say. I like that design though. I like the 10. The 10 of Cups, the design is so pretty. I think they did a bang up job on that. All right, the Jack of Hearts. So we have the Page of Cups. A bit of a loner. The Page of Cups is. A bit of an introvert. Then we have the Knight of Cups, Mr. Romance himself. That's all you need in life is Mr. Romance. And then the Queen of Cups, everyone's favorite, and then the King of Cups. It's interesting, sort of the crown sort of just stretches out. And again, with connections, we have the gold connected line between various things, and it looks like he's almost holding it. So I think they did a pretty good job with the gold foil stuff as well. Let's take a look at the book. The book contains very rudimentary definitions for some of the stuff, the sun, the star, and whatnot. It does contain the minor stuff. So it talks about the swords versus the spades versus the coins, etc. And then it goes into the spades. So you get a definition of all of the different numbers down here. And then the court cards are going to be on the right. So you want to pause and read that. And then we have the same thing for the coins or the diamonds. And then we have some stuff in the back. We have the cups. So there we go. I'll let you read the cups, pause it and read. And then finally, we have some spreads. So at the back, we have a using the cards guide, which explains about the cards. And then has, after that, we have difficulty with me turning the page. We have the Keymaster spread. The Keymaster spread, then the Celtic or Celtic cross spread. And then after that, We just have the rest of it. So there is a, obviously thin, minimal book with it, and then the deck. Now, if you buy the deck with no box, again, it does have a deluxe box. I didn't want to pay for it. If you buy the decks without the box, you get a black bag that comes with it. So let's see how it looks in the black bag. And it is thin enough to fit in there for sure. All right, so there it goes, right into the black bag. And there we have it. So that is the Keymaster Tarot. Please leave a like and subscribe. I appreciate you watching. And let me know what you think about the Keymaster Tarot. And we'll get a 4K flip through of this going pretty soon. Thank you for watching. Please hit like and subscribe.